you are so close to your issue that for whatever reason, you don't see the solution. It's like no matter what, you have the solution to everybody else's problem, but not your own, right? And then it takes like someone outside of yourself, and all of a sudden you go, oh, okay, this makes sense. Like, I see it now. If you could guarantee making your dream life your reality, what would that be worth to you? Welcome to the Manifestation Babe podcast, where we take topics like manifestation, the universal laws, quantum physics, personal growth, and spirituality, and turn them into simple, powerful, practical steps to apply in your life. I'm Catherine Zinkina, manifestation expert, master mindset coach, and multiple seven-figure entrepreneur who has generated over $25 million in just 7 years. I am obsessed with helping you achieve everything that you once thought was impossible. There is no such thing as an unrealistic dream. And with the tools that I give you, don't be surprised when every area of your life receives a massive up-level. Are you ready? Let's manifest. Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of the Manifestation Babe podcast. I don't know if you notice any difference, but I am recording finally in my podcast studio where I have a legit microphone. So funny. For the last couple years, I've been using it looks like I'm a pilot. Like literally, I have a headset. It looks like I'm flying a plane in a cockpit kind of microphone that I've absolutely fallen in love with, but it just isn't the best for video cameras. And I decided to take my podcast to the next level and actually have a studio. I think I have the same microphone now as Joe Rogan. I don't know if that's saying anything, but I assume that's really good quality podcast equipment because my husband just insisted that I got this microphone. And I'm filming with a nice camera. So I'm so excited to be here. Today's episode is all about getting unstuck. And I want to share a process with you. It's a very short episode because, well, first of all, it just is. But I want to share with you a process that I recently used on one of my clients. And it reminded me of a process, a very similar process. I do it from 3 different angles, and I wanted to share all 3 angles with you of how you can reframe any situation in your life and how you can get unstuck in any situation in your life in less than 60 seconds. I had someone in my DMs ask me this question. I think I was doing like a Q&A, my usual travel Q&As that I do. And someone asked me like, what's a really quick process to get unstuck or to reframe a situation quickly, especially when you need it. And I was like, oh my God. And then I used it on one of my clients. And so I figured that I would bring it to the podcast. Now, before we dive into this episode, just super quick, because time is running out. There's just over a week left to get inside of my free live. I haven't done a live training in almost 2 years. So I'm so stoked that this is a live training called Cash Flow. This is all about money mindset, money manifestation, where we're going to be diving into really mastering the energetics of money and learning exactly how money works from a manifestation context. Like, how does it work and how do we utilize the universal laws and energetics and mindset and subconscious rewiring and reprogramming and neuroscience to get that cash money, to get the cash to flow into our lives, into our bank accounts. We're also going to be talking about your money relationship and honing into the current relationship that you have with money and really looking at it so that you can get honest with yourself of where your relationship currently stands, and using that information to learn and understand how you can heal it so that it can be a relationship that greatly benefits your life. We're also going to be talking about like the most common intimacy killers in your money relationship and the things that actually make your money relationship better and makes money want to hang around you. we're also going to be talking about tapping into your queen energy, your queen archetype, who builds her financial queendom from a place of having a regulated nervous system, having emotional mastery, doing it from pleasure, doing it from grace, doing it from ease. Think queen energy. If you are the queen of your life and you're embodying the queen version of yourself, how would you approach money? How would your financial queendom look like? So all of this is going to be discussed in that free training. I am so stoked about it. So the link to sign up, I'll obviously drop in the show notes, as I always do, but you can also sign up at manifestationbabe.com/cashflow. Again, that's manifestationbabe.com/cashflow. And we officially start on May 15th. So 3-day training. Okay, so getting unstuck in less than 60 seconds. Here's the exact process that I used with one of my clients recently, and a process that I use on myself all the time. It's super effective. I've sprinkled this in before in some of the meditations that I offer for my students. It's very powerful. Okay, and it's very simple. This is what I love most about it. So first and foremost, how this works is through a concept called the third person perspective. You know that phenomenon that happens when you have an issue and you're stuck with your own issue, and you are so close to your issue that for whatever reason, you don't see the solution. It's like no matter what, you have the solution to everybody else's problem, but not your own, right? And then it takes like someone outside of yourself, like a mentor or a coach or a family member that you trust, or someone who has your best interests in mind and like literally says, yo, here are your blind spots. Here's what you're missing. This is what you should do. And all of a sudden you go, oh, okay, this makes sense. Like I see it now, right? And then how come we don't see that for our own problems? And then our friend comes along and has a similar problem. Like if we imagine our friend having the same exact problem, having the same exact situation, obstacle, challenge, circumstance, and for whatever reason, it doesn't appear to be a problem to us. All of a sudden, we know exactly how to solve it. We know exactly what to tell them, what they should do, what they should say, what action to take. And it's like so simple and clear and easy. So instead of needing to have an outside perspective every time you're stuck and every time you have an issue, here is how you can go inside of yourself to get the answers from within. So I will look at any obstacle, any challenge, any situation where I feel stuck. So whether it's in my business, in my relationship, with my child, with a family member, I'm feeling triggered about something. I'm feeling like things aren't quite going my way and I'm not really seeing the pieces of the puzzle that are missing, that if I just had them, I would bridge the gap. Or let's say like something really fucked up happens and something traumatic happens or something really unfortunate happens and I need a reframe because I'm seeing it as the worst thing in the world. And we all know that life isn't happening to us, it's happening for us. But we really struggle to see that piece, that missing piece that tells us, that shows us, that proves to us that it's all happening for us. So how can we do this? So I recently had my client close her eyes because she was asking me like, what is my block, Catherine? What is my block? If you're asking yourself a similar question when it comes to your manifestation journey of what is my block? I can't figure out my block. I know I have a block. Like, what the fuck is this block? I had her close her eyes. And obviously, if you're driving, please don't do this. But if you have an opportunity to just close your eyes and just bring to mind any sort of situation or any sort of question or anything about where you're currently stuck, something that you're having a hard time reframing, where you just feel like it's the end of the fucking world. And what I want you to do is I want you to assume God consciousness. So however you relate to God, whether it's, daddy in the sky, or you just see the cosmos, or you see it as your higher self or whatever it is, go into that perspective. Go into the mind of God. What would it look like through the eyes of God. So assume that consciousness and then pretend like you're looking down at yourself and see yourself and just notice what you see differently about yourself. I do this whenever I'm struggling with my body image. So if I'm having one of those days where I'm like, oh, I feel like my fitness stuff is never going to work, right? I feel like I'm never going to reach my goals. It's never going to happen. I recently did this for myself where I assumed God consciousness and I looked down at myself and I saw myself, you guys, I cried because I've never seen myself more beautiful. Because if I am a child of God, if I am a creation of God, of source, of universe, right? And I am so divinely made, and I, at a soul level, chose every single quality and every single characteristic and every single body part. Everything about my body I chose. And when I saw myself through God consciousness, I've never seen a more beautiful human being, a more beautiful soul, more radiant, more light, more bright. And all of a sudden, it's like, what am I talking about? I am fucking gorgeous, right? So with your issue, like I said with my client, she kept asking me what her block was in this specific situation. So I had her go into God consciousness, and all of a sudden she got the answer. Through that perspective, she got the answer. And sometimes you're going to have to sit with this for just a couple minutes. And if you're not getting any answers, it's because you keep coming back into your own consciousness. I need you to leave your consciousness, go into that third person perspective, look at it from God, like literally, what would it look like from God? And see the situation from that angle. Another angle that you can take on, if that one doesn't lead you to the answers, or you don't like that one, or for whatever reason it's not working, or you resonate with something else more, another consciousness that you can assume is looking through the eyes of your wisest self. So take yourself into the future. You're now 90 years old, sitting in a rocking chair, looking back at your life, and just see through her eyes. That 90-year-old version of yourself, see through her eyes the issue, the problem, you going through that problem, and just notice what she has to say. And again, even me saying that is not really doing it correctly, because you notice how immediately I went into like, oh, the wisest version of you is a she, right? No, you want to assume the consciousness of the wisest version of yourself. So you're looking at through an I am perspective, from the I am now 90 years old. Here's the issue. Here's the problem. And I promise you, when you look at any issue in your life and you go down the line of 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, when you look back, it's like everything you're dealing with is so minute, and you see yourself at the end of the line having had figured everything out. You're now chilling in a rocking chair. So clearly the problem wasn't a real problem, because you figured it all out. You're now on the other side. You manifested that thing. You overcame that block. She will tell you how to overcome it. She will tell you what action steps to take. She will tell you whether you just need to relax and just need to let go and not worry about things. And how, very often we watch those videos of elderly people on Instagram or TikTok, some social media platform, where elderly people get interviewed and they're asked what their biggest regrets are. And for the most part, those people say, I wish I didn't worry so much. Right? I wish I didn't stress so much, worry so much, operate from so much fear. So that version of you, when you assume that consciousness, you get answers that come from love, that come from being on the other side of the problem. It's actually very magical what the wisest part of you has to tell you and has to show you in regards to the obstacle or challenge. Now, the last perspective, this one I've used in a meditation before. I think it's in MBA, or one of the challenges that was leading up to MBA, or maybe it's in Manifestation Reset. I don't even remember, but somewhere I remember creating a meditation where you take something that you're really frustrated with. So a situation where you feel a lot of frustration, you're triggered by it. It just brings up a lot of shit for you. And what I had the people who obviously listen to the meditation do is to step outside of themselves and to assume the consciousness. And this is the third hack, the third angle to do this exercise from. I had them assume the consciousness of someone who they deeply admire. Someone that you deeply admire, someone that you consider your mentor, whether it's someone close to you or from afar. Just think of someone that you think like has a handle on life. Like they figured some shit out. They took some risks. They experienced a ton of success. They really went for it. They didn't operate from fear. And just assume their consciousness and watch the problem that you have and watch yourself figure out the problem from their perspective. And just notice what advice you have for yourself, embodying that mentor, embodying that person that you so deeply admire. And just notice, just witness what beautiful advice you get from these three angles. So you can do this whenever something arises. Sometimes I just like to communicate. I just like to embody these perspectives just for fun in my meditations and just see what comes through. It's a closed eye process, definitely. And I just recommend like placing your hands on your heart for just like 5 solid minutes and just focus on your breath, regulate your nervous system. And the best way to do so is to like inhale a certain amount of seconds. So whether it's 4 seconds or 6 seconds, hold at the top for like 2 seconds and then exhale for anywhere between 6 to 8 seconds. Do that like 5 or 6 times. Just let your nervous system calm down, access your heart, allow your soul to come through. And then that way you'll have an easier time doing this exercise. So I'm super curious. Work through an issue, work through a stuckness, work through something that's coming up for you. Take yourself through this process. It shouldn't take any more than 60 seconds once you actually assume the consciousness of God, assume the consciousness of someone you deeply admire or your wisest self, and then just see what comes out of it and then share with me. I'm super curious because this worked beautifully for my clients, my students, myself, and I'm super curious to hear from you how it helps you too. All right, that's all I got for today's episode. I just want to let you know that I so appreciate everyone who has left me a review on my podcast. It is the best way to help me grow, and it seriously motivates me to continue. I've been on these weekly episodes since the beginning of the year, actually even before. I think it was since November. So I've been on weekly episodes for like 6 months now, and I am just on a roll, and you guys keep me going. So thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and give me a follow on @manifestationbabe so we can hang out on Instagram. If you don't follow me there already, I'll see you inside of my free training Cash Flow by going to manifestationbabe.com/cashflow. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next episode. Mwah! Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Manifestation Babe podcast. If you loved what you heard today, it would mean the world to me if you took a moment to rate, review, and share this podcast with someone that you think would benefit too. Sharing the podcast is the best way to help it grow and create a powerful community to join you on your manifestation journey. In the meantime, come hang out with me on Instagram at my handle @manifestationbabe, or sign up for one of my next manifestation courses or offerings at manifestationbabe.com.